Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be comparing a 2020 Jeep Cherokee to a 2020 Jeep Grand Cherokee so you guys can kind of see what the difference is. So, as always, a huge shout out and thank you to the Jeep Chrysler here in Sandy, Utah for providing us with both the Grand Cherokee and the Cherokee. Definitely check out their inventory in the link below. Let's get into it. Starting with the Cherokee, we have a naturally aspirated 3.2 liter V6 that goes through a 9-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 18 around town and then 24 on the highway, with power outputs being 271 horsepower and then 239 pound-feet of torque. Now, coming over to the Grand Cherokee, we have a naturally aspirated 5.7 liter V8 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 14 around town and then 22 on the highway, with power outputs being 360 horsepower and then 390 pound-feet of torque. Let's go over the lighting elements on both the Cherokee and the Grand Cherokee, starting with the Cherokee here. And by the way, these are both in the Trailhawk trim package, so that's why there's the black decal, and then you got the tow hooks there at the front. But full LED lights here on the Cherokee. Notice that you get the little kind of grill inserts there, just like every single Jeep has. But notice the lights are kind of like a little bit more condensed down. You do get the fog lights just down below right there. And then coming over to the Grand Cherokee, again, still get a hood decal on this Trailhawk package. Tow hooks there up front. And then you can see still get little LED accent lights around. You can get a couple different headlights for this. You can get halogen, and then you can get the bi-xenon headlights, so a little bit different than the Cherokee. Still get fog lights, but just notice it's kind of like bigger and boxier at the front, whereas this is kind of a little bit more like rounded off. Coming to the side of the Cherokee, we've got two 45/18s for the tire and rim setup, and then over on the Grand Cherokee, we've got two 65/19s for the tire and rim setup. And then just look at the tires on the Trailhawk package. So the tires are a little bit more aggressive, obviously, for off-road use. And then you've got these nice fenders that go all the way around on the Cherokee. You've got the little Cherokee logo there on the side. Trail rated, since again it's the Trailhawk package, so you'd hope that it would be. You get fender flares around, but again, it's kind of like more squared off. Trail rated, again, it says Grand Cherokee down the side. So, I mean, equipment-wise, it's all pretty similar on the exterior here. It's just kind of like how they do the design on both of them. And then notice the front end on this versus on the Grand Cherokee. The Grand Cherokee sits just a little bit higher. We've got the key fob here on the Cherokee. So notice that it's got a couple functions. You've got the unlock, the lock, and then a remote start, and then it says Jeep on the back. Now we're going to replace that with the key fob for the Grand Cherokee. So again, it says Jeep on it. You have a couple more well, not a couple more functions, just one more function. Has the little tailgate release, and well, let's get into the rear of the Cherokee and then the Grand Cherokee. Coming to the back of the Cherokee first here, it is a hydraulic lift for the tailgate. And then notice that you do get a couple little mats back here, and then underneath this little area, just lift this up. That is where the spare tire is hidden. And then other than that, notice that you do get these little hooks that you could clip stuff into. Storage space back here is a pretty decent amount, and just kind of memorize this before we go over to the Grand Cherokee. One last thing I forgot to mention is you do get these cubbies here on both sides with the Cherokee, and then to throw it down, they do give you this little hold, but it's kind of easier just to grab the top and then pop it down. Now coming to the rear of the Grand Cherokee, it does have that power lift gate that you can do from the key fob, or you can just press the little button right there and it'll pop right open. Now looking in the back here, instantly notice that there's a 12-volt, you get speakers, way more storage space. So that's kind of one of the biggest differences, is just how much storage space there is in the rear. And then again, you got all the floor mats. Now lifting this up, spare tire underneath there, so that really isn't changed. There's a little cubby on this side, just not on the other side. But again, the biggest thing you're gonna notice is there's just more storage space, and also my shadow. Looking at the back door here in the Cherokee, well, actually opening it up, you get this nice red stitching here in the Trailhawk package, and then some soft touch. We're gonna pop in quickly because this car alarm's been going off for a minute and I don't see it going off anytime soon. So, a couple vents right here at the bottom in the Cherokee, and then notice that you do get little areas for USBs and then a full power outlet as well. Here are the seats in the back of the Cherokee. So you get like the leather at the top with the stitching, and then there is this kind of like little cloth insert in the middle portion of the seat. Couple cup holders back here. And then in terms of legroom and headroom, you notice that there's a little bit less legroom and a little bit less headroom compared to the Grand Cherokee. The headroom, it's harder to notice, but you definitely do notice the difference in legroom. And well, let's head over to the Grand Cherokee. Now over here at the Grand Cherokee, again, you get the red stitching, and then you've got this padding here on the side for the Trailhawk package. And well, we're gonna pop in quickly again. So stepping in, it's just because it's tight back here, but notice that there is quite a bit more legroom back here in the Grand Cherokee. You get a little net back there. Still get vents down here at the bottom. Actually get heated seats, a couple USBs, and then a full power outlet at the bottom. So other than the heated seats, pretty similar down there. Now the seats are a little bit nicer, so you've got the leather, and then they do suede inserts instead of just like these scratchy cloths, so a little bit nicer on these seats. Still get a couple cup holders. And then you guys will also notice, again, on the headroom, it's just a little bit more headroom, not a ton more, but just a little bit more. And so again, you just get more space back here in the Grand Cherokee. At the front of the Cherokee, we do have keyless entry, and then here's the door panel at the front. So again, the red stitching, you get the leather trim, window controls all right there, and then here are the seats at the front, and my microphone that decided to malfunction for today's video. Bye, microphone. You've got the controls for the seats right there on the side, pedals at the bottom, and then you've got the light controls up top right here. Steering wheel is manually adjustable, and there's one more look before we go over to the Grand Cherokee. Now again, we've got keyless entry over here, and looking at the door panel, it looks pretty similar to the Cherokee, just a little bit more soft touch, a little bit nicer with the actual material itself, just the feel of it. Same controls right there, memory seats. And then again, the seats here at the front, similar to the Cherokee, it's just the bolsters are a little bit wider and just nicer. It's just nice, more nicely bolstered. It says Trailhawk at the top again, suede inserts. Adjustments are on the side of the seat. There's the pedals just down below. You've got the light controls right here, and then the steering wheel again is also going to be manually adjustable. And there's one more look before we pop into the Cherokee. Actually, I'm just going to briefly go over the features on the interior of the Cherokee so you guys can kind of just compare them to each other. This isn't going to be like an in-depth review on every single feature, but notice the whole look of the steering wheel. You've got the cruise control on that side, the controls for the little center stack right over there, voice command controls as well. They actually do not continue the red stitching onto the steering wheel. It's black stitching on the center of the steering wheel, smooth leather all the way around though. And then right here, this is your turn signal stalk. Also doubles as the stalk that you can do to flash the brights. Windshield wiper stalk is on the other side. And then coming into the center here, this is what the actual gauge clusters look like. So RPMs on the left side. On the right side, you've got the speed itself. And then in the center, it is a little configurable area. So you can basically just put it to be different screens. You'll notice that this little screen in the center will look pretty similar in both the Cherokee and the Grand Cherokee. Now here is the little infotainment system. And this is what the backup camera looks like in the Cherokee. And other than that, the rest of the infotainment system, response time on it is really solid. Heated seats, heated steering wheel, no ventilated seats. Do get a backup camera like button, so basically it just puts you to the backup camera, and then you can drag and drop with the apps. Really easy to use for the infotainment system. That's just to turn off the parking sensors. Down here's a couple controls for that area. So you got like your radio controls. This is to turn off the stability control. That is to turn off the auto stop start, which this does have if you don't like that function. Dual zone climate controls for the front as well. Now this is the whole area that you're probably going to like the most if you're into going off-roading. So first off, gotta mention there is a parking brake, but this is that shifter for the 9-speed automatic transmission, and then it does have a manual shift mode if you want to shift the gears yourself. You do get a couple little, well, you get a USB and an auxiliary. Now over here are the drive modes. Now the drive mode select actually pops up right over here when you go to the different drive modes. So when I go into the snow mode, for example, it kind of just shows a little depiction of the Jeep in each of the modes. But you've got auto, snow, sport, sand, mud, and then finally you have the rock mode. And then on the rest of the dial, you have a couple more functions. So you've got the 4-wheel low, the hill descent control right next to the 4-wheel low. This is like your off-road cruise control, and then that is your locker for the rear. Couple cup holders right here. Now the center console has two portions. You have the top portion you can open, and then you can open both, and then open to the bottom portion, which has a little 12-volt and a USB in it. And then coming over here, you got the glove box, which is a normal Jeep glove box, which is a little bit on the small side, and they give you some extra storage up top, so they kind of make up for it. And then notice there's the red stitching, all that. Now, finally, up at the very top here, you notice that there is a little sunglass holder, and the headliner is in the kind of like lighter color. No sunroof or anything in this particular one, and that's all for the Cherokee. Now here is the steering wheel in the Grand Cherokee. You'll notice that, again, you've got the cruise control on this side. You've got the controls for the center stack, voice command controls. All of that's the same. Red stitching, though, on the center of the steering wheel. Smooth leather. That all kind of feels the same. You do have the little paddles on the back to basically go through the gears with the transmission if you want. Radio controls on the back of the steering wheel as well. And then you got the stock for the windshield wipers and the turn signal all integrated into one stock. And then here in the center, you get that same center screen. Notice it looks pretty similar, just a little bit different because on this particular one, you've got the RPMs over on the left side, speed in the center, and then you got the fuel, whereas the other one had like the speed on the right side, but then you have like the same little menus that you can scroll through on this. Now over here is the center touchscreen. Notice that you do get navigation on this. I just like the look of this screen just a little bit more. Heated and ventilated seats are an option, and I think that's just a really cool thing to have in general. Now the backup camera, you get trajectory lines on it. Looks pretty much the same as what's on the regular Cherokee. Still get dual zone climate in this, which I don't know why it's on hot. That makes no sense at all because it's already hot outside. But regardless, infotainment system's pretty similar. I just like the integration on it. Just below the infotainment system, you have the controls for the radio, controls for the dual zone climate as well. And that's for your stability control. That's for the sport mode. You've got the eco mode off, which would be the normal mode. If I push that in, then that is in the eco mode. And then you've got the parking sensor button. Now, under here, we've got a couple little USBs and a 12 volt. And then here's the shifter for the 8-speed automatic. And again, you can use the manual shift mode here or with the paddles. Couple cup holders. And then you do have the drive mode select, which again, will pop up in the center screen here. So if you go into the sand mode, the snow, for example, and then you've got the mud, and then finally you've got the rock, which you do have to go into 4-wheel low. And then coming over here, you do have the 4-wheel low. You've got the off-road cruise control. This actually has air suspension, so it does raise and lower the Grand Cherokee itself. Center console here with red stitching, and I really like the center console. It's just a little bit bigger than the Cherokee, but opening it up, it's similar in the function that has 2 different openings. You do get a 12 volt at the center. Same center console as what the Durango has. You got really nice wood trim above the glove box. The glove box is definitely a lot bigger, and it is lined with felt. And then going up to the top portion here, notice that they've got the headliner finished in black, and then this one actually has a sunroof, which, oh, that's blindingly bright, but they've got like kind of like a smooth headliner, sunroof, and then black headliner to match the bottom. So yeah, let's quickly go over pricing on both the Cherokees. The regular Cherokee is about $37,000. That one's about $52,000 before any type of market adjustment on either of them for the pricing. Sorry, it's kind of awkward. I'm like sat between both of the cars, but it's super windy out and my microphone decided to just not work. So yeah, I'm trying to like mitigate wind noise as much as possible while I sum things up. So the last thing I want to go over is the towing capacity on both of them. So this Cherokee, or the Grand Cherokee I should say, with the 5.7 Hemi can tow over 7,000 pounds, whereas this one with the V6 only tows about 2,000 pounds. So if towing is important to you and it's something that you need to get done, the Grand Cherokee is definitely going to be the better route to go. I mean, even like the minimum towing capacity on one is like 3,500 pounds. And so yeah, it's just definitely the better route to go from like a towing perspective. To quickly pick out the winner, I think the Grand Cherokee is definitely the better route to go for. I just like the fact that it has more engine options. I like the styling on it a little bit more, the interior, just everything. I know it's so much more money compared to especially this Cherokee, but again, I just think that's a better value. It's more practical because it tows more, has more storage space, all that kind of stuff. So yep, Grand Cherokee wins for this one. That is going to sum things up for our video. And again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Jeep Chrysler here in Sandy, Utah for providing us with both the Cherokee and the Grand Cherokee. Definitely check out their inventory in the link below. I will see all of you guys in the next video.